Hey everybody, G Bear, Homesteading the Desert, April 14th today. It's a Saturday, and they said that we weren't going to have any wind today, but if I go over this way, you'll see the shadow of the turbine spinning. You're looking at my my hydroponics setup here that I made look like a cactus, and yeah, I got some paint on it today because I was looking for something inside the container, and I found a can of green spray paint, and I said, whoa, just what I was looking for. And I forgot what I went in there for it. I came out with the spray paint and I spray painted this thing. So I've got some paint on it. It looks a little bit better than being all black, but now I've got to get that thing set up and get the wicks into it and get some pots into it and grow something in it. All right. Next in line, you see everything sitting up over here because I started working on the chicken coop again today, and I ran out of materials and I didn't have any time to run to the store. So we've got a wind event coming here according to the weather report, and it's supposed to be one heck of a wind event. They're talking 40-50 mile an hour gusts. So I've got to hunker down, get everything locked up, and not worry about it getting blown out of here. All right, as you can see, I put the inside panels on the nesting coops, and I've got those all ready so the chickens could get in there. There's going to be a piece of styrofoam insulation that has a foil on one side and a plastic coating on the other side. It's 1.5 inches thick. It goes right inside this area here, and it'll just give me a little insulation on there from the sun beating through and getting too hot in there, or the cold in the winter time. I also hung the door on here, and you can see my piano hinge running down the side here, and I had to add a little extra build on there. And right now I've got 2 screws holding the door in the shut position because there was a little warpage in this plywood, and I'm anchored it down so that it's going to sit there and relax and take that little warp out of it. Then I added on the steps on the ramp here for the chickens to get up, and I think those are going to work out just fine. And we'll move around the other side here. You can see the nesting boxes here have got the panels inside. So those are ready to insulate, and then I'll start working on the outsides. These 2 plastic things came off of an old treadmill, and I said I'm going to use those for something, so I didn't throw them out. I brought them up here. I might just use those for step edges when I do the deck over on the other side of the motorhome. All right, so I started experimenting. This is the old fence boards that I brought up, and I've got a big stack of them. And you can see my little rabbit cut here on the edge. And the saw is set up for that right now. And I did 2 of them. There's another one here that's already set up. So the way this is going to work is one will sit with that little rabbit, will sit right up against the other one like clapboard. And as you can see here, it gives me a little 1/4 inch overlap there. So as water runs down the wall, this would be the upper one, this is the lower one. If water runs down the wall, it can't get inside. So I'm thinking about using those on the outsides here. And then on the ends here, I'll put a little piece of strip molding down to cap off the end of it. On the corners here, I was going to do a 45-degree angle cut on them and go around the corner, but I don't have to because this is going to be a flap door here. But up higher, I might have to do that. And here, I'll just do a half piece to here, and then another piece over to there. And I'll finish this all the way up like that. And then what I'll do is down the center here where there's a seam all the way down, I'm going to put a piece of 5/8 by 5/8 square stock. I'll rip a piece that goes in the center so I can butt up against those, and then I'll put a cap piece over the top of it so rain can't just go straight into it. It's got to work its way around a bunch of L's and it'll never get inside. So that's my plan on that stuff. Other than that, but I had my compressor out here running today. I had the table saw running today. I have my chargers running today for my batteries. And I took a lunch break. And while I was taking my lunch break, I was sitting over there on the porch. And I kept hearing a noise inside of the battery room. And thinking, did a critter get in there? It sounded like something was under the shelving on the floor down there, scraping or scratching. And I said, what the heck is that? So I snuck up here and I looked inside. I was going, what in the heck is in there? And I couldn't find anything in here. And then as I was sitting here, I heard a noise, and it was coming out of these batteries. They were bubbling. They were going bloop, bloop. And that's what it was, because they were making noise on the wood. It was transmitting through the wood, and it sounded like something was scratching on the wood. Well, that's because my batteries, my solar was charging 14.7, 14.8. And I had everything running. And I said, whoa, what's going on here? I'm getting way too much electricity. I'm running power tools out here, 13 amp power tools, and I still have extra electricity, so much that the batteries are boiling. They need to be using more electricity. So I came in, I turned the fan on high, I turned the TV on. Now these are all plugged into AC electricity. This is not 12 volt electricity. I have my Wi-Fi plugged in up there on the wall. That's the blue light. That's running the Wi-Fi. I turned the computer on. I turned the speakers on. I changed the refrigerator, took it off the timer, and I put it on full time. So that's running all the time now. And look, with all that running and the sun going into the set down stage, I'm still at 13.2. So let's talk about having a little extra electricity to spare here. I have it. And here's our weather for today. 4:14, 6:04 p.m. It says it's going to rain. I don't know why it says that, because it ain't going to rain. The sky is crystal clear. And we've been having 6-mile-an-hour winds, peaking at 10, averaging 6. 78 degrees right now with only 8% humidity. That's what I like about it. It's dry. And here we go down to the dew point. Well, I don't think it's going to get down to 16 tonight, so we're not going to see any dew. And this is the indoor temperature, 84, with 16% humidity inside here. Here's the history of the winds. And it got up to 10 miles an hour a couple of times here, but mostly it was below 10 miles an hour. Of course, my friend Andy said that they were predicting 1 or 2 mile per hour for the whole day here. It's been gusting the whole time, so that's baloney. Here's the barometer. So we're in high pressure here, and finally coming down. Let's go to the next one. The temperatures. Look at this, running in the 80s, right on the 90 mark all day. So yeah, it's been a nice warm day. I got a lot work done. I actually took a ride on the ATV because I saw some trucks go down the dirt road, and I wanted to see if they dumped anything. And no, they didn't. They were just curious and following dirt roads, probably looking for a place to camp on weekends. So anyway, the next thing to do is I have in the refrigerator here this foil pack. And inside this foil pack are Parmesan crusted pork chops, the thin cuts. And I'm not going to open it up right now because I'm not going to cook it right now, but I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to do that. These things are delicious. I love them. But you have to wrap them in foil and refrigerate them at least an hour, up to 4 or 5 hours if you want, in the refrigerator before they're ready to cook. Otherwise, when you throw them into the butter and oil in the pan, the cheese will fall right off into the pan and you don't have anything. All you do is, I use just a little bit of iodized salt, sprinkle that on both sides of the pork chops, and then I add a little bit of minced onion on both sides of the pork chop. And then the last thing is to give them a really good coating of grated Parmesan cheese. And then to use, just fold over an edge of the foil and use it to press it down and pat it down onto the meat. Now what's going to happen is the salt's going to bring up some moisture out of the meat, but it's going to meet with the Parmesan cheese and kind of coagulate it together on the side of the pork chops. So you want to do both sides like that, then wrap it up in the foil loosely like I did and stick it in the refrigerator, and I'll leave it there for, well, I did mine just after lunch, and it's 6 p.m. now. I'll be cooking those within the next 45 minutes when I'm done with the video, and that's what the pan is sitting here for and ready. And then you probably saw in the refrigerator I had some grease in there, so I'm going to steam some spinach and broccoli, and that's what I'm going to have as a side with the Parmesan pork chops. Just delicious. Anyway, sometimes you can even do baked beans with it, but I wasn't in the baked bean mood tonight. It's been a warm one. And that's all for today. G Bear signing off from another episode of Homesteading the Desert.